My name is Reverend Julie Tonneson, and I serve as the Associate University Chaplain here at Elon. And I have the distinct privilege of introducing y'all to our speaker this morning, John Pickett, Director of the Elon Academy. Quick fun fact and backstory, if I might. John was my first ever boss about 15 years ago when I was a first year as a student here at Elon, and he was directing the college access team mentors for Elon Academy at that time. John and I are also North Carolina natives, North Carolina teaching fellows, so it's been a real joy to see how our paths have crossed and how our lives have continued to intertwine at this place over the last several years. As of just a couple months ago, right? John is serving as director of the Elon Academy. However, he's been on staff here since 2011. He strengthened Elon's relationship with local families, the Alamance community, and our regional schools. In addition, John's work in educational equity has taken him to Africa, where he's twice co-led one of our study abroad courses. Prior to coming to Elon Academy, John was a teacher in the Alamance Burlington school system and ran an award-winning after-school program for under-resourced students. In addition to being a proud Phoenix, John is also a proud Spartan, where he earned his master's degree in student affairs. Did I get that right? Nice, great. But also has a master's degree, or an undergrad degree from Elon in elementary and special education, and we are so grateful to welcome him to this space this morning.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Reverend Tonneson, for that very kind introduction. When Reverend Tonneson asked if I would speak at Newman Lumen, I didn't hesitate to say yes. I think the world of Julie and would do just about anything for her. Then she shared the theme with me. Smart move to hold off on that. The theme, me in my own words. Me in my own words? What? This meant I had to talk about myself, share something personal, instant panic. But I had committed, and I'm big on the follow-through, so here I am. So one morning recently, as I sat outside on the porch of my house, I was pondering what I might share. You see, it's my morning ritual to sit out there and have a bite of breakfast, usually accompanied by some concoction involving chai tea because I'm obsessed with it. Sitting there, I heard the sound of the eastern whippoorwill calling out across the morning. The sing-song tones of this bird carried my thoughts back to sweet memories of growing up on my grandparents' farm in rural North Carolina in Snow Camp, about 30 minutes south of here, right on the Alamance County border. I recall cool mornings when my mother would drop me off at their house just as the sun was starting to peak above the misty horizon and the whippoorwills were at the height of their morning calls. During childhood, I spent the majority of my time with my grandparents, as my mother was a single parent working multiple jobs to support our home. My grandparents were lifelong Quakers. Consequently, the Quaker faith, prioritizing education, service, and reflection, had great influence on my formative years. Some 40 years later, this influence has continued to guide my path. Go where you'll grow and seek to serve. that was a saying that my grandfather shared countless times with me over the 13 years we walked this earth together. I would often come to him seeking advice on a variety of matters that were of the utmost importance to a child. And even though I was young, and even though they probably weren't that big of a deal, his advice would almost always end up being surmised by thoughtfully stating some version of, "Go where you'll grow and seek to serve." Amazingly, this phrase has never steered me wrong. It has been a sort of compass of words to guide me in my life choices. Rarely does a day pass when I don't think, speak, or share this sentiment. Now, not to be outdone by my grandfather, my grandmother also had her own sayings that have stuck with me. For example, she always said, "There's very little that a 10-minute walk outside can't improve." It's so true, especially on this campus. And another one, "You bake with the dough you've got," meaning that you do the best you can with a situation while being realistic about the limitations present. However, her saying that most aligned with the ideals of the Quaker faith and has most continued to influence me was, "Well, what do you know for sure?" Most often, this statement/question would come after I had spent some time visiting with my grandmother, where I would inevitably end up sharing some stressful situation or dilemma in my life. This began in my childhood and continued as I would visit her up until last year before she passed away. She'd actively listen, patiently waiting for my ramblings to come to an end. And as if I didn't already know what her response would be, she'd say, "Well, what do you know for sure?" She used this question as a way to cut through to the heart of a matter, and also to isolate the facts and feelings that were most relevant. "What do you know for sure?" was also a way to drown out all of the noise and create a space for reflection. She even had a literal list of what she knew for sure. She kept it on a yellow legal pad. And as someone who had lived a good 50 years plus before I even arrived in this world, this list of what my grandmother knew for sure was actually surprisingly short, underscoring the fact that we humans are limited, that we can't really be certain of many things, but that which we are certain of can serve as an anchor, keeping our ships from being cast about in the sea in the midst of the swells of life. Likely influenced by my grandparents and Quakerism, I have found that my core values are education, service, and reflection. In both my personal and professional life, I hold these ideals above all others. My commitment to education, service, and reflection has led me to a career in which I've had the privilege to provide education and opportunities to less resourced populations. I started my career, as Julie mentioned, as a teacher in local public schools, teaching in Graham, North Carolina for 8 years. And currently I'm in my 12th year working with the Elon Academy. In case you don't know, the Elon Academy is a nonprofit college access and success program located here at Elon University. I would be remiss if I didn't take this public platform to remind our audience that you can donate to the Elon Academy through our website. I did get approval from Reverend Tonneson to say that. The goal of the Elon Academy is to partner with hardworking high school students and their families to ensure that these deserving students achieve their dreams of a college degree. We partner with students and their families for 7 years to and through college. We are currently supporting our 16th cohort, and to date, 100% of the students who complete our high school programming have gone on to college. I believe that there is no better way to empower others and strengthen our society than to educate and be an advocate for those who seek to be educated. I have truly enjoyed every position I've held in my career, and I feel incredibly fortunate to be involved in work that not only makes a difference in our community, but is also work that aligns with my core values. What a privilege, right? 20 years ago, when I was an Elon University student and a student teacher, shout out to the School of Ed here at Elon, I was placed in a first grade classroom. Here, as a student teacher, I formed a relationship with an inquisitive and driven 6-year-old named Miriam Gutierrez. Later on, I taught Miriam again in 5th grade. When Miriam reached high school, she decided to apply to the Elon Academy because she knew that she wanted to go to college, but she was uncertain of how to accomplish this goal. I had just been hired by the Elon Academy, and she had just been accepted by the Elon Academy at the close of her 9th grade year at Graham High School. So as a result, I had the pleasure of continuing to support Miriam's growth and education through high school and onward to college. Well, Miriam graduated from Wake Forest University, and she's currently living in Charlotte as a contractor for the FBI. No big deal. How many other education professionals and teachers can state that they've had an almost continuous relationship with a student and their family for 20 years? I get emotional just thinking about it. Seeing Miriam succeed, grow, and develop has been one of the most fulfilling rewards of my career. I often reflect upon the many relationships with students I've cultivated over the span of my time. I think again of Miriam and how proud I am of her success at Wake Forest University and beyond. I never would have experienced all of this without following my grandfather's mantra: go where you'll grow and seek to serve. I'm also certain that Miriam and many of my other students, maybe even Julie and some of the former employees, have heard me repeat those powerful 8 words of guidance, as well as my grandmother's counseling, well, what do you know for sure? I believe that both my grandparents would be so pleased to know that their spirits live on and have influenced others in the same positive manner in which they had always sustained my own decisions and growth. Who could have guessed that conversations walking through the field to a chicken house or a vent session while baking biscuits in the kitchen would ultimately seed an influence that would yield guidance and counsel to so many. My grandparents never had the opportunity to attend college, but their influence has helped me assist so many young people in accessing the gift of an education. Okay, so now I have to share with you a list of some of the things that I know for sure. As I read, I encourage you to think critically about what you know for sure. What I know for sure. What I know for sure is that this too shall pass, both the good times and the bad. Know that the tough times will pass, but cherish the best of times, for they will pass as well. Love is the most buoyant force on the planet. What do I know for sure? It's never a good idea to check your work email right before bed. That goes for student emails as well. What do I know for sure? Everyone looks better when they smile. Everyone. Young people hear that. Everyone looks better when they smile. Don't leave your chapstick in the car. It will melt and it will be messy. I always feel a sense of accomplishment when I make it to the end of a stick of chapstick because it's so rare. What do I know for sure? Everyone is really doing the best that they can. However, that doesn't mean that their best is what you deserve. You'll never, ever regret sleeping on a big decision. What do I know for sure? Offering someone grace is never the wrong move. It costs you nothing, but is priceless to the recipient. What do I know for sure? I know this as an Elon student. You can get in and out with your cookout order much quicker if you park in a nearby lot and walk up to the order window rather than waiting in the drive-thru. Best way to get your milkshakes. What do I know for sure? Money is just money. Sometimes you will have more of it, and sometimes you will have less of it. Never get caught up on how much you or someone else has or doesn't have, because inevitably it will change and change and change again. What do I know for sure? check your pockets before doing the laundry. There will be something in there, and it's probably chapstick. If you don't check, it will be messy again, just like when you left it in the car. What do I know for sure? There is only one person who can make you happy, and that's you. You have to choose happiness for yourself, and so does everyone else. What do I know for sure? It is important to say no when you don't want to do something. But it is equally important to say yes when you really want to do something. You should never, ever feel guilty about either response. What do I know for sure? Rarely is anything as bad as you fear it will be, and rarely is anything as great as you hope it will be. Most things fall somewhere in the middle. Big life transitions, they only happen one way. Fast and with a little notice. And finally, what do I know for sure? There are 3 kinds of people in this world, and they can all be summed up with how they would react when driving and coming upon a turtle crossing the road. The 3 types are those who would aim to run over that poor little turtle, those who would swerve to miss the turtle, and third, those who would pull the car over and move the turtle out of the road. Strive to be a turtle mover. This is what I know for sure. Well, what do you know for sure? May you go where you'll grow and seek to serve. Thank you.